It's weird to grieve something that was never even really real in the first place. It's like an uncovering of the truth, a taking off of the layer of the mud, and realizing what was being shown to you the whole time, but what you never had the eyes to see because of your own limitations and desires to keep yourself safe, your own coping mechanisms. But what happens when you stop coping? What happens when you stop doing the thing that reaffirms the state that you're living in? What happens when you stop having the emotional reactions? What happens when you stop entertaining the patterns or do entertain the patterns in new ways with different energy? What happens then? What happens when going to the park used to be an escape, but now you do it as an intentional act of communion and connection with yourself? What happens when you make that internal shift? How do you make that internal shift? When do you make that internal shift? For everyone, it's different. For me, it happened when I finally decided that I had had enough. I had to reach breaking points, many breaking points, in order to actually get to the point of feeling like, wow, something needs to change. Wow, this isn't normal. And when you get to that stage, it requires a dusting off of the third eye to actually see what you were once blind to, what you were once unwilling to see out of protection of your own heart. And that only happens when that mechanism is no longer effective in getting your needs met. And so, what happens when we actually allow our needs to be all the way fully met? What happens when we actually allow ourselves to tune into what we actually need? Need is based on want, not the other way around. What happens when you learn to make your wants your needs? What happens when you decide that you're worthy of that? What happens when you decide that that's the world that you get to live in simply because you said so? Can you uphold that? Can you actually ground into the world where that is the reality? Are you slipping and falling, attempting to reach a new height that you don't know if you can get to? How would it feel to know that you can get there? All you have to do is make that decision.